Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Disney and politics again.
I'm so tired of it. I'm sure you guys are all tired of it too, right?
Everybody's tired of it, including Disney employees.
Yes, apparently.
Apparently, some Disney employees have drafted an open letter to the company asking that the company be apolitical. This is in stark contrast to a lot of people working in Disney, particularly in California, who want Disney to be more political.
But more political to only one side.
Right, and they've gotten used to that under the Iger regime, because remember, Bob Iger had his eye on the White House, and he spent the last 5 to 8 years turning Disney into a more and more quote-unquote woke company to pander to one side of the aisle. And now a lot of Disney employees are fed up, and they're like, let's just not talk politics anymore. Well,
because apparently, you know how Twitter is, you're only allowed to have one opinion.
Yeah.
Apparently it's getting like that at the Walt Disney Company as well.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because not everybody's going to have the same opinions politically. And instead of the company working together to do things that, like make good entertainment or make good theme parks or do what they're supposed to do, I guess apparently there's a lot of political crap going on behind the scenes, and it's alienating certain people.
It's also helping rot the company from the inside out. I mean, look at, weirdly enough, Inside Out, Pixar, look at what happened with the John Lasseter situation. Lasseter got ousted. I did a video on that yesterday. Went to Skydance, and he took like 3/4 of Disney's top animators with him. So it's hurting the company's bottom line. It's hurting their ability to retain staff because, people don't want to work.
And I think that's why Chapek wants to go back to being apolitical. And, but we're not allowed to do that because Iger has already let that genie out of the bottle, not putting it back in.
And he charged extra for that too.
Yeah, right.
He's charging you extra for that.
I'm sure. And now you can't put it back in because now everybody's demanding that it stay political to certain leanings. And for all the talk of diversity and inclusion, it's always about, it's same with Twitter. It's a diversity, inclusion, and acceptance, but only for the people they believe or should have a voice.
Yeah, and we did a video last night, and not dunking on that one guy, but there was only one protester in Florida that we're aware of that protested.
Right,
the
and
bill.
Agree or disagree with their opinion on the bill, the fact that they had the guts to come in there and do that, for all the people that were going on and being upset about it, I didn't see them showing up there. And in California, there was where the most people were protesting because mostly, they're trying to leverage not having to move and different things like that. But it's interesting to me that a Florida bill was not protested in Florida, but was heavily protested in California.
Yeah, by people who aren't in danger of being relocated. It's, we had a lot of the animators and stuff protesting it. And look, they can protest whatever they want to.
Because they're mad. They're mad because they think that that Chapek should have gone and somehow stopped everything, even though it wasn't his place to do so, for one. And two, it wouldn't have done any good.
No.
But Disney needs to throw their weight around whenever it's something that they deem as important.
Yeah, so now we've got Pushback to the Pushback, and we're going to talk about this interesting situation. We did a video last week talking about how Disney really should be apolitical, especially just from a purely
business,
financial point of view. Like, you want to sell to everybody, and it's hard to do that when you alienate half your audience, by taking a hard line. Now, you can get messages in there, and we talk about this, and people are always, you've got these disingenuous, articles out there like, well, comics have always been political, and Disney's always been political, and yeah, but it was never ham-fisted in your face like this. Even the press around certain movies and TV shows and theme park attractions, the discussion is always focused on politics.
Well, even the press in general, because when you look up about these walkouts and stuff, you keep hearing the one thing, but no one's covering the fact that apparently there was another letter. And because we're trying to be fair, we're covering them both.
Yeah, so before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 261,000 subs.
Yay.
Thank you for the support. We do talk a lot about Disney, having worked in and around the company ourselves for a number of years. No longer with them, obviously. But this is a pretty interesting situation. I would love to see Disney go back to center and just focus on entertainment.
Focus on what they're supposed to focus on.
Yeah, and let people, you can have your politics, your political opinions outside of the workplace.
Totally have more diversity and inclusion, reflected in the things you create. But you don't have to constantly be like, we have to talk about Disney. We have to talk about it all the time.
And that's it. Every time you talk about Disney or you talk about Star Wars, whatever the media does, and you can tell some of the celebrities even are getting tired of it. They always throw political questions into the mix. Well, how does it feel to be a woman in Star Wars? How does it feel to be a woman in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? How does it feel to be, what about all the Yahtzees, the white male privileged Yahtzees that are trying to keep you down? What do you think about that? Like, why is that even coming up?
But not just that, because automatically, if you don't agree with them, that's what you are.
Yeah.
And that's we're getting tired of. I think everybody's just tired of it. And apparently these employees are tired of it. So they sent an open letter.
Yes.
And since there was open letters and demands from one group, I think it's just fair to talk about the open letters and demands from another group. And I will tell both sides of this. It's like I always say, if you really feel strongly that it's not going the way you like, and you feel like it's causing you to have issues, depression, anxiety, things that are hurting you personally, you need to walk away. You need to go to another job, be it no matter which side it's on, for your own personal health. You need to walk away if you really feel that strongly about it. And I would say it and I said it for the other people, and I'm going to say it for these people because that is just fair. And I feel that way, either way.
Yeah. And I think that's going to happen. I think, when talking about all the animators going to Skydance, I think part of it is they did not feel welcome at Disney Pixar anymore because a lot of them were middle-aged white guys. And they flat out said, like 3 years ago, they had a Pixar, the president of Pixar was like,
He's a middle-aged white guy.
Who is a middle-aged white guy? He was like a 60-year-old white dude is basically saying, well, these white men aren't going to be in charge of Pixar and Disney for much longer. So.
I got rid of the competition for the white men who want to be in charge of Pixar and Disney, but I'm still the white guy in charge. But,
Yeah, there can only be, it's like Highlander. It's like there can only be, per our diversity and inclusion quota, there can only be one white male working in this department. And so help me God, it's going to be me.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Anyway, so they went to greener pastures. They didn't feel welcome, I think. So here's a letter. And this is the first time I'm reading it in its entirety, so this is going to be interesting. As employees of the Walt Disney Company, we believe in the dignity of all people. This is why we do what we do. We write stories. We make costumes. We act in parades. So these are theme park people. We run cruises. We stream movies. We make magic. We do this because our work contributes to a fountain of wonder that inspires joy, awe, and delight in guests and audiences of all ages. We are proud employees of the Walt Disney Company. We love our jobs because we get to share the wonder of life and human experience with millions of people worldwide. And I'm going to interject here, having known a lot of cast members over the years, a lot of them truly believe this.
Mm-hmm. And they, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, color, they truly believe that this, and that's what they want it to be about.
Yeah, it's about escapism. It's about inspiring people to be creative. They
used to be steel sharpened steel, man.
Yeah, it used to be. However, over the last few years, one group of cast members has become invisible within the company. The Walt Disney Company has come to be an increasingly uncomfortable place to work for those of us whose political and religious views are not explicitly progressive. We watch quietly as our beliefs come under attack from our own employer, and we frequently see those who share our opinions condemned as villains by our own leadership.
Sounds like Twitter.
It does. Yeah, well, it is. Disney's been pandering to Twitter. The company's evolving response to the so-called, don't say gay legislation in Florida has left many of us wondering what place we have in a company actively promoting a political agenda so far removed from our own. TWDC leadership frequently communicates its commitment to creating an inclusive workplace where cast members feel comfortable sharing their perspectives and being their authentic selves at work. This is not our workplace experience.
Right, and that's where I'm at. If you're going to, if you want people to feel comfortable and share their perspectives and talk about, where they're coming from, and so that, you can make it a better product for everyone because you have discussion and, like, oh, I never thought of it that way, things like that. This is not what's happening when you have people that aren't allowed to have, everybody else is allowed to have an opinion except for the subset of people, which we keep seeing happening over and over again.
Now, I'm going to inject here again. A lot of companies historically have had policies in place where you weren't supposed to discuss politics, religion, that sort of thing, in the workplace, because it could become very divisive. And the goal is you come to work, you work as a team.
It's a unifying experience, not a
divisive experience, and you make the company money. One company in particular I worked for, we were government contractors, and we had my boss was actually a senator, was a Democratic senator, but I would say 3/4 of the staff were Republicans, and just we never talked politics. Like, even though the guy was a senator, it was like, this business is we create software for the government. We don't talk about politics.
Right.
Even anecdotally, sometimes it would come up, like, oh yeah, I'm running for this, whatever. But it didn't come up, and that was actually in the handbook. I remember it was in the handbook. Like, we're not going to talk politics.
Right, because it just creates situations like this. And for a company that's doubling down on, we want to make everybody feel welcome, then which I agree with. I always think that it should be fair, it should be equal, it should be everybody. I mean, I've said many times, I don't care what race, what gender, what sexual orientation, what religion you are, are you an asshole? That's what I look at. And I think it needs to be, the same needs to be applied across the board. Like, one group of people shouldn't be constantly vilified because they didn't vote the right way. Yeah. Why other groups of people will, keep getting like handed every, conceivable, perk, for lack of a better term. And I don't think that's fair on either side.
Over the last few weeks, we have watched as our leadership has expressed their condemnation for laws and policies we support. We have watched as our colleagues, convinced that no one in the company could possibly disagree with them, and grow increasingly aggressive in their demands.
Their demands are ridiculous. And a lot of the demands were made after these things were already addressed.
Yeah, and a lot of the demands are made by people who, frankly, just don't want to move to Florida. In California, and we're talking about a Florida situation, it doesn't even affect them. And a lot of these
They're
people,
worried it might affect them eventually.
Eventually, yeah. They insist that TWDC take a strong stance on not only this issue, but other legislation, and openly advocate for the punishment of employees who disagree with them.
Yeah, that's
Twitter.
It's Twitter. It's Twitter, the company.
An internal poll within the company went out a few months ago asking us if we felt accepted in the company. Many of us didn't complete it because the nature of the questions made us worry that the results of the poll could be used to target us for quietly holding a position that runs against the progressive orthodoxy that Disney seems to promote. TWDC has fostered an environment of fear that any employee who does not toe the line will be exposed and dismissed.
We have heard this from people at Disney, from people at Hollywood in general.
Yeah.
And look, I don't always agree with somebody, but I don't think it's fair that, that they have to live their life and be afraid. Again, but I'll tell them, like I said, the people that were mad about wanting different policy changes at the company and the other way. If you don't like it, and you don't feel comfortable, and you feel threatened, then you really should just leave.
Yeah, and I mean, this is, if we're talking about conservatives and we're talking about, Christians, this is something that comes up where, a lot of cases with Christians, it's like, I can't actually work for this company. Even Muslims, I'm sure, I can't work for this company because of the, what they promote, and it goes against my religious beliefs. In that case, it's a personal decision, and, you need to wrestle with that. And if you come to the conclusion that you think God is telling you to go someplace else or do something, what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where you're at personally. And you can't, I don't think you can, the difference is you can say, hey, I feel like this conflicts with my religious beliefs, my religious values. I'm going to go someplace else because of it. That's different than I'm going to demand that this company change everything
to align with what I believe.
Align with my religious beliefs. That's not realistic, right? Much has been made of our internal efforts to reimagine tomorrow, but as much as diversity and inclusion are promoted, the tomorrow being reimagined doesn't seem to have much room for religious or political conservatives within the company. Left-leaning cast members are free to promote their agenda and organize on company time using company resources. They call their fellow employees bigots and pressure TWDC to use corporate influence to further their left-wing legislative goals. Meanwhile, those of us who don't align with this vision keep our heads down and do our work without bringing our personal beliefs into the workplace. We've done this without complaint because we don't want to rock the boat, but the boat is being rocked, and our leadership seems compelled to reward those who are rocking it. I think Chapek didn't want to. He reluctantly...
No, he wants to go apolitical.
Yep. Employees who want TWDC to make left-wing political statements are encouraged, while those of us who want the company to remain neutral, they're not asking for Disney to be conservative. They're asking for Disney to just stay out of politics.
Just to go try to get our job done and not have to worry about being harassed at work all the time.
Like it was 10 years ago, before Iger decided he wanted to get into politics. To remain neutral. Employees who want TWDC to make left-wing political statements are encouraged, while those of us who want the company to remain neutral can say so only in whisper, out of fear of professional retaliation. The company we love seems to think we don't exist or don't belong here. This politicization of our corporate culture is damaging morale and causing many of us to feel our days with TWDC might be numbered. Furthermore, as this politicization makes its way into our content and public messaging, our more conservative customers will feel unwanted. This is happening already.
Yeah, it already is.
You can only preach at or vilify your audience for so long before they decide to spend their money elsewhere. Working for Disney is a dream come true. We love being part of creating the magic that so many people around the world enjoy. Our storytelling is second to none. Well, that's debatable now. It resonates with people from all walks of life across the political spectrum. Our parks are the source of joy and inspiration that Walt hoped they would become. Every year, millions of guests escape an increasingly divided world escape to a place where they can relive fond memories of the past and savor the challenge and promise of the future. They do this alongside thousands of other guests that might not have anything in common with them other than a shared love of Disney.
You don't know who the person voted for you in the next car on a ride.
What about all the people from other countries that could care less about American politics?
Right. It doesn't matter, and that's what's happening is you guys keep just go back to making things for the sake of making things and being unified instead of divided.
The unique brand of family entertainment that Disney is known for is an objective good in this dark world. It brings people together and provides cultural touchpoints that even the worst enemies can unite over. At the height of COVID lockdowns in the summer of 2020, when the country was fiercely divided over a range of issues, Hamilton provided us something to collectively celebrate. At the end of an incredibly contentious election year, The Mandalorian was there to soothe the weary nation with non-political entertainment we could all enjoy, no matter who you voted for, until they got rid of Gina Carano.
Yeah, well, I want to point out about Hamilton. A lot of people didn't, I thought that all the people that are, alt-right hate Hamilton because they race swapped characters. But these people aren't complaining about Hamilton. They were excited about it.
I liked Hamilton.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're not saying we can't have diversity and inclusion.
No.
That's not what they're saying.
When Disney takes sides in political debates, they deprive the world of a shared love we all have in common. TWDC is uniquely situated to provide experiences and entertainment that can bridge our national divide and bring us together. Yes, Disney historically has brought people together. I mean, Walt was an American icon, and
but he was very political.
He was, but he kept it out of the workplace in a lot of ways until he threw some of his artists under the bus. But that's a whole nother video. Anyway, CEO Bob Chapek had the right idea in his original statement that he has since walked back. In Chapek's own words, as we have seen time and time again, corporate statements do very little to change outcomes or minds.
That is true.
That is true. Instead, they're often weaponized by one side or the other, not saying just one side, to further divide and inflame.
Which is also true.
Disney is far more important and impactful to the world by avoiding politics than it will ever be by embracing a political agenda. By focusing on entertainment that inspires us with stories of universal appeal, we're doing good in the world. Disney shouldn't be a vehicle for one demographic's political activism. So much bigger and more important than that. More than ever, the world needs things that we can unite around. That's the most valuable role the Walt Disney Company could play in the world at this time. It's a role we played for nearly a century, and it would be a shame to throw all that away in the face of left-wing political pressure. Please don't let Disney become just another thing we divide over. Mm-hmm. Too late.
Yeah.
I think Chapek is trying to walk it back, but I think
Iger's already...
The damage has been done. I think Iger objectively is going to go down as the worst CEO in Disney history. He might have acquired a lot of things, but he acquired a lot of things that got mismanaged, that he overpaid for.
He overspent.
And he did set Disney on a decidedly political road. I mean, Michael Eisner was a Democrat, but you didn't know Michael Eisner's politics. you know, and you shouldn't really know Bob Iger's either, but he was constantly out there
and
showboating.
it's probably for the best for the company and for everyone, because contrary to what people want to argue and scream about, half the country was pretty much divided, very much so, and half. So when you have this going on and it's very polarized in general, it's probably not wise to be like, we're taking one side or the other. I think the reason Chapek didn't do anything about the Florida bill was because, you know, wasn't Disney's company to do something about it. This wasn't their place. And it was this politics, it wasn't their job. Just like, but what gets me is other companies who did the same thing and played both sides. No one's complaining about them. Where's all the walkouts? Where's all the bullshit?
Because they're not, again, you know, Disney is known for being world-class entertainment as a massive platform. You're not going to have as much outrage over, you know, Publix or whatever as you are Disney, because Disney does have the power to influence the entire world. So to an activist, it's like, this is it, man. Like, it doesn't get any bigger than Disney. So we have to infiltrate Disney and make Disney do what we want, because it is literally one of the biggest megaphones on the planet.
And like, these people, they aren't asking Disney to turn around and politically, for political motivation to promote what they want. They're just asking, can we just please like go back to center more, so that, and be basically not even going to center more, just like, can we just stop doing politics stuff? Can we just like go make good things and do what our company's been doing for years and go back to that and stop, you know, being a battleground constantly? It sounds like you can't escape at all. And it's not cool. I mean, I get where people are coming from on both sides, but I think Disney really, really, really needs to go back to being apolitical and just do their damn job, because I really don't want to be lectured by Disney about what I should think and what I shouldn't think.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, when we talk about Disney in the last 3 years specifically, that's pretty much all we talk about is Disney and activists using their platform to preach at people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, vilify fans, or you know. And I think a lot of it could have been blown over. Like, if people didn't like the Star Wars film, okay, that would have been okay. They could have said, okay, I don't like it, it's not for me. But it wasn't left to that. No, here comes the media, here comes social media, here comes people at Lucasfilm, etc., vilifying fans. And that's what escalated it into a much bigger problem than it would have been.
Yeah.
And I think they just need to make content. If people like it, great. If people don't like it, great. But as far as a company, if you're that upset, either way, on either side, about choices the company makes, or you feel that threatened by people at your company, then I think as much as you love Disney, you might just have to go someplace else.
Yeah, and people are. They are.
Yeah.
So I think we're.
Where's their demands? Where's their walkout?
Yeah, I would like to see more independent studios, smaller studios pop up. I mean, look, you know, Disney started as a reaction to Walt's treatment over Flip the Frog, you know, and losing Oswald, and that's how Disney started. So I don't know. Gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.